Considering we're still talking about the Rolling Stones going strong in 2021 is an out-and-out miracle, enough where they might have to rename themselves the Continuously Rolling Stones. While Mick Jagger had a slight blip in his health lately, a heart ailment now remedied, they're back on the road in an international tour at the time of this writing. Yes, they're mostly intact as they've always been, other than a few exceptions. If you've wondered if all the Rolling Stones, as they were originally formed, are still alive, they've gone through as much tragedy as their British counterparts, The Who. Take a minute to look back at who survived the wild ride the Rolling Stones have been on for the last 57 years. We all know the 1960s were turbulent and loaded with notable rock stars who died of overdoses. The Rolling Stones became a part of this statistic, and it's a wonder it didn't happen to more of them. It's also worth noting a lot of people have been involved with the Stones over the years, who've come and gone. The biggest tragedy, however, was the death of one of the founding members, Brian Jones. By the late 1960s, many of the band's members were having serious drug problems and were busted for it. Jones was one of them, albeit mostly for cannabis use. By 1968, Jones didn't seem suited to the life on the road and only contributed to the band sporadically, due to wanting to stick to the band's original blues roots. His mysterious death in 1969 by drowning in his pool is still considered one of the biggest unsolved cases in rock history. This death occurred only a month after the band fired him, for lack of input and creative differences. Nevertheless, Jones was responsible for naming the band and practically everything else when they began. Mick Jagger, perhaps the most famous member of the Rolling Stones. His dance moves and high-energy stage presence has made him a true rock icon. Born into a middle-class family in Dartford in Kent on July 26, 1943, Mick was first set to follow his father's career path as a physical education teacher. His passion for singing and music soon caught up with him. "I always sang as a child," he was quoted saying in the book According to the Rolling Stones. "I was one of those kids who just liked to sing." In September 1950, while he was enrolled at Wentworth Primary School, Mick met Keith Richards, who he quickly befriended. Although they lost touch when Mick's family moved to Wilmington, Kent, the two men found each other again during a chance encounter on Platform 2 at Dartford Railway Station in July 1960. Mick and Keith were still planning on starting their own rhythm and blues group called Blues Incorporated. He eventually left London School of Economics in 1963 in order to focus on his promising music career with the Rolling Stones. Keith Richards, guitarist and vocalist. Singing backing vocals on many Stones songs, Keith is another original and infamous member of the band. Born on December 18, 1943, in Dartford, Keith always knew his path would lead him to a career in music. His maternal grandfather, Augustus Theodore Gus Dupree, toured Britain with his own jazz band and gave him a passion for playing guitar at an early age. Although he received most of his family's support, Keith's father did not look favorably on this career choice. In 1962, he moved into a London flat alongside Mick and Brian Jones. His parents divorced around the same time, which led him to stay close to his mother while remaining estranged from his father for 20 years. Charlie Watts. Charlie Watts replaced Rolling Stones drummer Tony Chapman in 1963 and did not leave his spot until his death in August 2021. Born in 1941 in Bloomsbury, London, he celebrated his 80th birthday on June 2, 2021. Before turning to rock, his earliest works were jazz recordings, and he's a childhood friend of jazz bassist Dave Green, with whom he discovered his first 78 revolutions per minute records. Although he developed an interest for art, music, cricket, and football, Charlie eventually turned to drumming at the age of 13. His parents gave him his first drum kit in 1955. He then met Brian Jones, Keith and Mick in mid-1962 at the London Rhythm and Blues Club. Charlie died peacefully, surrounded by his loved ones, on August 24, 2021. Ronnie Wood. Hailing from Middlesex and born on June 1, 1947, Ronnie Wood began his musical career alongside Ross Stewart. After his first band, The Byrds, broke up in 1967. They eventually joined Kenny Jones and formed the band Faces. Ronnie then joined the Rolling Stones as an official member. During the 1980s, the three surviving Faces members reunited in July 2021 for a series of live performances and will reportedly release new recordings. The Rolling Stones have remained active into the 2020s, releasing close to 30 studio albums, among other projects over the years, in the UK as well in the US. In 2021, they're prepping a new box set for their album Tattoo You, released in August 1981, as a way to celebrate its 40th anniversary. Ronnie broke the news during an interview with The Times on July 17, 2021. He has admitted to working with Mick, as both men have done 9 new tracks. Ronnie also revealed that he battled with cancer a second time during lockdown. And after Charlie's death, the band revealed they were continuing with their tour in the US as an emotional tribute to their friend and drummer. Jagger, 78, Richards, 77, and Wood, 74, are the only original members still alive, with Steve Jordan taking Charlie's place.